regional news, highlights, school happenings, local politics, what's going on in your neighborhood? You're going to find out right now. You're listening to the 815 Has Problems podcast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
All right.
Live. We are live, buddy.
Live from the Hive at 5.
At 5.
I'm a rapper now.
I'm trying to get the video shared. It does. Oh, there we go. We are live.
Yeah, we are super live. So here's the story. I want to just let everybody know. I'm going to be dipping out of here in a few minutes when Cecilia comes in, and not because of any situation with the show, but there's a really lot of bad weather moving in, and I live in southern Will County, which is about to get nailed. And Danny's looking at me like I'm a scaredy cat. Which I am when it comes to weather. Like, you know, I have all these big trees that like to fall.
No, I'm with you. It's just for me, it's like, you know, being Middle Eastern, it's like, bring it. Come on, give me big boom.
Hey, man, this is your big, this is, you got big shoes to fill when I step out of here in a few minutes. Let's talk real quick about who's coming in. I want to just kind of give you
go over the details.
Yeah, I want to kind of just get into it real quick. Cecilia Brooks is going to come on with us. And what's going to happen is we're going to kind of sit through, well, Danny's going to sit through and talk with her about the events that happened at the Bailey launch party in September of 2025, which was leading up to Darren Bailey announcing, or actually it was the night that he announced that
it wasn't out yet,
running for another shot at the governor's mansion. I'm sorry, I'm like
he's all frazzled from the thunderstorms.
I am.
Lightning is scary.
I'm not used to staring at the camera, so I'm staring at the camera and I'm trying to talk, and it's just not working for me right now. So Cecilia was at a party. Then they had an after party, which they'd all boarded a Sprinter van. And you and I had talked about this on a podcast that we did about January 28th or 29th, somewhere in that range. It was just a few days after the McHenry debate that we had.
Yeah.
And so we decided we wanted to get together and talk about this. You came on the show. There was a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for, Danny? There's a lot of controversy around that show.
Jinx, buy me a Coke.
A lot of people didn't want to, that show to come out for some reason, and those people were the Bailey campaign. They didn't want it.
Oh, it's not some reason; it's some for sure reasons.
Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, you know. So with that being said, I think that we have to kind of take a trip back in time. We don't really know a whole lot because Cecilia hasn't really had her chance to tell it. Just kind of let it air out and just say what needs to be said. And I'm kind of mad that I'm not going to be here for it, but at the same time, I think it's a story that needs to be told.
No, it is. And
I think before I get out of here, I want to make this stance that the story itself wouldn't have been as big as them trying to cover it up. Like,
oh, my God, yes.
It's really a nothing burger. And I'm not saying that I don't want to demean anything, but
of course not. But you're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? Like in the grand scheme of things, Darren Bailey wasn't there. I don't know if Aaron Del Mar was there. It doesn't sound like he was there for a lot of it. Maybe he was there for some of it. I don't know. That guy's...
He went on the bus ride downtown, and he was on the bus drinking with the young girls. That's it.
So when you look at it from a standpoint...
Could have been easily fixed.
Thank you.
Easily.
I mean, I don't think it had to get to this point.
Nowhere near it.
We had to have podcast, and then we have to edit podcast, and then, these people are putting up posts that, they're so worried about Cecilia and what's the other guy's name? The one that was working for...
Brett Corrigan?
There you go. See, my brain, man. So, a lot of people, were not a lot of people, but the former admins of this page on their old page were saying that, they didn't want to release this podcast with you and I and all of this stuff because
No, they should release it.
Well, they don't want to
because they're cowards,
and they actually can't release it. The person saying that she owns the podcast, she
does not own it.
She does not own the podcast.
We know who owns it.
Not how it works.
We reached out to that gentleman.
She says, "Call my lawyer." She doesn't even have a fucking lawyer.
Call my lawyer. Okay. 1-800-CALL-A-SCHMUCK.
Right.
Now, and
fake nurse, fake pageant. Keep going.
And here's the biggest thing here, folks, because as we go into the next segment and Cecilia comes in, what we want you guys to hear is finally from her mouth, one, how she got invited there. Two, what was she even doing there to begin with? Then how does this story manifest into going to this event? And whether it's people grabbing her butt or trying to get lap dances from her or drinking, she's going to explain that part. And from that point forward is what we're going to focus on. Because, JV, you've mentioned this before that, you got kids, okay?
Right.
And if someone is accusing or someone does something to one of your kids, you're going to want to at least know all the details before you pull the trigger, right? That's what sane people do.
Exactly.
But they're refusing to hold any kind of accountability to this when it's just as easy as handling some idiots on your campaign that acted incorrectly, handling the situation, and then no one can mess with you.
I would have had a zero tolerance policy on this one. So if just say I'm Bailey and this happens, somebody comes to me the next morning and says, hey, X, Y, and Z happened. Okay, who was there? Okay, you two, you're gone.
You're fired.
You're done. We're done.
I want all the details.
We're not going to talk about it
right now.
We're not going to give the Democrats anything to give.
What do you mean a girl went to the hospital?
Exactly.
Are you out of your freaking mind?
Thank you. Exactly.
What do you mean there's a party bus?
Right.
Aaron, what were you doing on the party bus? You're 50-something years old. You're running for lieutenant governor. You're getting on a party bus to go drinking with 20-somethings. But it's that
My wife
culture.
would kill me.
Dude, I'd give her the gun. Because here's the thing, okay? You're running for lieutenant governor. And the culture of your campaign, because this was initially all to me as an issue of culture, Jay.
Sure.
What the hell is the culture of your campaign that when you're asking people for money, you're asking for them to give you a promotion with your horrible resume. You're asking them to get behind a 2-time loser already. What possesses you to have a culture where you guys are going to go out drinking, popping bottles of Dom and Ciroc?
Okay, so I was in my 20s at one time, right?
I hear you, but you weren't running for the highest seat in the land when you were 20s.
Sure. But I guess my whole thing is it's all fun with responsibility behind it, right? But
sure.
There should never be a situation where a party's gotten so out of control that someone needs to go to the hospital over it. Right?
Correct.
Like that's unacceptable on any level. And so all of the things that have kind of been like back and forth with them and the ups and downs, it's been just a kind of goose chase. No one wants to say anything. You know what I mean? I don't understand what they're hiding. I guess it doesn't make sense.
You know why? And what I caught on with mainstream media too, because we've sent out press release after press release. The mainstream media in the state, the big dogs, they're all the Dem side. They're all controlled by Pritzker. He doesn't want this Pritzker doesn't want this getting out right now.
Sure.
Because he wants to go up against Darren in a general because he knows he can annihilate him.
Right.
That's obnoxious to me. And I'll say this much. People have said to me, hey, what happens, Danny, if Darren Bailey wins the primary and you've said all this stuff about him and you're in the Republican Party? Very simple. I'm going to tell everybody in the world he's just as much of a schmuck organization and Aaron's as much of a degenerate as Pritzker is. That's going to be my stance.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And when the media starts coming after me in the future, hey, remember when you said this about Darren Bailey? Can we quote you? No, you can't quote me. You can bring me on your show and I'll tell everybody again. That's what my take is on it.
Yeah.
I'm focusing strictly if Darren Bailey and Aaron Del Mar win the primary. The only focus for every single Republican in this state is to make sure you protect your president and get your congressional and Senate seats handled. That's simple. That's the only option. That and, of course, all of your local elections, local politicians. Oh, she's 1 minute away. Thank God. Stuck by a light. But all of your all of your local races, those are the ones that matter.
They are.
These guys are just the epitome of a joke.
Change stops at places. Sorry, my ears are messed up. Change starts at places like school board meetings and city council races and stuff like that. That's where change begins. Change,
correct.
A lot of people want to go straight for the White House, and that's fine, but the change begins in your own backyard.
That's 100% correct.
Right.
And that's literally what we need to focus on.
Sure.
I don't care about the state central committee. I don't care who thinks they're the big dog. I'm the big guy Republican. I love egg rolls. I don't want to I don't want to hear that. At this point, it needs to start from the bottom back up. This can't be we're way too broken to be a top-down fix.
He's like the egg roll king of, or what was Abe Froman, the sausage king of Chicago? Remember Ferris Bueller?
I've never met a countryman in my life that was so fixated on egg rolls as this guy is. It's hilarious. But I mean, look at actually. Speaking of Tom DeVore, let's look at this guy. This is a guy who not just decided to sleep with his 25-year-old client when he was representing her as her attorney.
Yikes!
He not only slept with her, he abused her, threatened her business. I guess cost her a bunch of money. And he lost his law license for this over a while.
I didn't know this.
You didn't know any of this?
No,
really?
No, I didn't care about Tom DeVore until a couple weeks ago.
Tell me about it. Why would you schmucks want to come out of the woodwork here? This is the worst thing you can do to yourselves.
Right.
He comes on. Starts commenting and posting everything else. This is a guy, he banged one of his clients while he was representing her. He got his law license suspended over this. Listen, I might be a schmuck. I might have been arrested, but I was also never claiming to be a lawyer trying to run a campaign.
It's always the ones that live in glass houses that want to launch grenades at other people. That always just kind of
It is.
dumbfounding.
And, you know, if you're going to throw grenades, don't do it with a Middle Eastern guy because we're really good at it, okay? It's that simple. We're not Iran. We know actually how to fight. The Lebanese are different.
I don't need the FBI running up on me later, so we're gonna just tell everyone that.
Oh, listen,
joke.
they've already been listening to my phone for years, brother. But here's the biggest contention that we have to make sure that we get handled by having this young lady come on and tell her story. When Aaron Del Mar sent that message, that text message to you, trying to disparage this woman because she was, you know, this woman's involved in domestic violence. She's a victim of it, and he did the typical BS move of, well, let's try to victim blame.
And then had his lawyer friend go look up all of her stuff that was, you know, that was only available to attorneys on iAttorney, right? Like
Right.
some of that stuff you can't get in the general public domain, right?
Correct.
That's available on, you know, so who was looking that up? And if I was Cecilia Brooks, I'd go asking the Cook County Sheriff's Department who's been looking up my case information that's an attorney. That's what I'd be doing.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And in fact, we can, she's already going to be on that. In fact, oh, Jesus, that's a great idea.
I know. I'm full of them.
Yeah, you are. You're not bad. So, you know, having Del Mar do all this ridiculous stuff is absolutely insane. And this is what we're going to talk about in the next segment when we come back from break before you rock out.
Yeah.
But so before you head out here, you've seen the insides and depths of this story from a third-party point of view perspective. What is a question that you want to have answered?
So I honestly don't know that I have. So I think I've answered a lot of my questions because I've just kind of dug into stuff and looked at it. What I'd like to see is if there's possibly a toxicology report that could back up that, because I'd like to see what they said, right? That's just for my own inquisitiveness. But,
Of course.
I mean, I'd like to know why the Baileys just don't want to talk about it. Like why you can't just ignore things and expect them to go away. Right? Like that's a very awkward and silly way to use things. Or
Like
do things.
you're expecting it to go away to win the primary. What about the general?
That's what they don't get though. They're like they're all doubling down on this primary so hard with all the attacks, with their cult people everywhere, the Scientologists walking down Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah,
like,
and one of them is about to catch a felony charge.
Well, that's on
Sandra,
her.
what's up? Shout out to you, my lady.
That's what we call fuck around and find out.
Yes, it is.
So,
yes, it is.
All right, we're gonna take a 1 minute break. Cecilia's gonna take my spot, and then I'm gonna run.
Guys,
back to the
we're going to
country.
be back. Grab your popcorn, grab your tissues. We will see you guys in 1 minute.
And pray for me that I don't have a Wizard of Oz moment on my way home.
See you, buddy. And guys, hey, on the record, that was the first ever commercial break in the history of the Hive. So we are back. Welcome back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, be careful with that mic. Yes, you break it, you bought it, young lady. We are back on the 815 Has Problems podcast with the Miss Cecilia Brooks. Cecilia, how are you?
Danny, I am actually doing very well, thank you.
How was the traffic?
Oh my gosh, a little stressful, I will say. I was driving through and it was already fine, and then traffic hit.
Out of nowhere, right?
Out of nowhere, and then the torrential downpour decided to add to my commute.
Hey, let's make it happen, though. Come hell or high water, as they say in the U.S. Post Office, neither rain nor sleet nor snow or whatever it is may be. All right, so we are here. We have an audience listening in. We are live in the chat. Those of you that want to ask questions, please feel free to do so. We finally have you in the room. And I know you were just recently on Peggy Hubbard's show, a couple different segments, but that was radio. That's FCC radio. Here, we can have a little bit more freedom in our words. Not too many, because we're also on YouTube. But I want people to hear from you a couple different points, okay? Pretty much almost everybody already knows the main story. You went to the Bailey event, you left, whether you were drugged or roofied or a different kind of alcohol mixture or something, then, you know, you had your incident where you went to the emergency room. A question that a lot of people have asked, which is kind of silly, it's kind of almost victim blaming, but it is a very interesting question because it does build the narrative of the story. How did you even end up there? Like, what was your purpose being there? How did somebody invite you? What happened?
That's a great question and something I wanted to provide clarity on. So I had originally gone to the original campaign kickoff, the initial one. Mm-hmm. That was a public event that was being held at the Drake. And as somebody who had not necessarily chosen a candidate to be supporting at that time yet, I wasn't planning on necessarily supporting Darren Bailey, but I also just wanted to see what he was about. So I attended the campaign launch event with a few friends and acquaintances, and many people were there. So that was a public event because I had been invited.
When was that? That was before September?
That was September 25th was the actual day of the event. And after that, Brett Corrigan was the one who invited me to the private, intimate dinner reception with the Bailey campaign and their donors.
Okay.
And then afterwards, Brett Corrigan and the same people at that dinner that was held at the Drake were all going out, and that's who invited me.
Okay. So you get, and now Brett and, Brett was making a point before that night even happened that to make sure that you were in attendance. Like they were trying to invite you to get you to come out.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay. So you guys go to get on this party bus and or Sprinter van, if people want to be technical about it. You go and you get on this Sprinter van, and Aaron Del Mar is on this bus. There's no questions about it.
There are no questions about that.
Okay. He gets on this bus, and I was told by another person that you actually ended up verifying. A comment was made by Brett Corrigan. All right, guys, no cell phones, no recording.
So that comment was made. It was actually made by Jose Durbin.
Oh, it was Jose that said that.
Jose
Thank you for the
Durbin.
correction.
And he did say, the only rule for tonight is no flash photography, no cell phones.
I wonder why. This Jose turns out to be a lot more interesting of a character. So you guys are popping bottles of Dom Perignon vintage, by the way, and Ciroc, and you guys are heading downtown. And you guys go to Escobar. At what point does Del Mar leave you guys? This is very important.
So Aaron Del Mar was in Escobar with us.
Mm-hmm.
We originally started in, I guess you could call it a pregame or an initial more private, intimate setting in a private room of Escobar. And Aaron Del Mar was present for that portion. And some of us split up and they went to the club side of the portion where the more general public was. But they had Brett Corrigan and Jose Durbin had their own section at Escobar.
Like bottle service.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I want to make this abundantly clear because people need to understand something. There has never been one time that you have ever said Aaron Del Mar or Darren Bailey drugged you, roofied you, attempted to do something in this party bus because physically they were nowhere even near the place. So that's an impossibility. Would that be correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I want to eliminate the Psycho Bailey bot habits of them trying to say, she's trying to put this on Del Mar. Like these people are ridiculous. Okay?
Correct.
So now you guys leave Escobar and you start driving back. At what point do you start not realizing what's happening and what's going on?
I mean, I remember everything up until a certain point. So when we get back onto the Sprinter to leave Esco to go back to the Drake from the city, I was fine. So coming down the stairs, leaving the club, I was fine. Getting onto the Sprinter, I was fine. Even in the beginning of the ride, I was fine. It's only a portion away through the ride that I'm starting to not feel so good. And it wasn't a like an upset stomach or anything. It was, I'm slowly going downhill. And because originally it started as me kind of getting dizzy and lightheaded, but that didn't make any sense to me considering I had been fine coming down the stairs and getting in. So it starts coming out of nowhere, but it quickly, my decline is pretty rapid. And so it starts with that lightheadedness, dizziness, and then because I was standing. And so I'm standing and I'm kind of starting to not feel so good. I'm starting to lose my footing, starting to just kind of things are not feeling okay. And
you're giving a lot of people flashbacks at times they've experienced that, I'm sure. And good and bad. Like, these are the things that you have to be aware of, especially, listen, if you're a young woman and you're out there, especially if you're in the college area days, everybody is somebody's daughter here. You need to be aware of once you start catching on these feelings, you must be ready to start acting and responding. So we're trying to give you guys a visual, I think, because you know how people say, hey, trigger warning, you're affecting my trauma. No offense, I understand that, and it's a trauma I've never experienced, so I have no idea what you're actually what you went through. However, people need to hear the details. We can't be so like, oh no, don't scare everybody. No. Let them be scared so it doesn't happen to them.
They should. No, it's absolutely terrifying. There was nothing at any point that was, this is lighthearted, this is funny. This was terrifying. This was horrible and this was traumatic. And I would definitely like to just spread awareness because as somebody who has had drinks before, you definitely know what it's like when you're, I'm getting buzzed, then I'm getting tipsy, then it's the stages of getting drunk. And as a bartender, of course, it's my literal job to be able to pay attention and to recognize those signs. And you completely immediately know. I know how perfectly how to describe it in the best way that I can, but you immediately know this is not
Something's
drunk.
not right.
This is not
Something's
like,
not right.
yes. And this is not alcohol. This is not right. And
So you catch
really
on, you
wrong.
start feeling this, and then what point do you not remember much until you wake up in the hospital? What's that trigger point? What's that cutoff point, rather?
Yes. So it's actually, so as I said, the decline is pretty rapid and it's all going down on the sprinter on the way back.
Mhm.
And so at one point, as this rapid decline is continuing, then that's when I start. So I obviously knew something was not right. Then I start getting the tunnel vision. Like it's my peripheral vision that goes
Sure.
first, though. And that's when I'm realizing I already knew something was wrong, but that's when I'm realizing I think I'm going to lose consciousness. And so I'm getting tunnel vision on either side. My peripheral vision is going out, like out. And at this point, I can't even, because I was standing, so I'm like looking for something to kind of grab onto or lean onto on the sprinter. And that's when I'm realizing, yeah, I'm definitely going to lose consciousness at this point. So we actually end up finally, I just knew I had to hang on. I'm telling myself, you need to stay awake until you get to the Drake. Like, you cannot lose consciousness right now. Like, that's all the thought that's going through my
Here's
head.
an interesting question. Who's on this? Because you remember everything up till that point. Who's on the party bus on the ride home? Who's on the sprinter on the ride back to the hotel?
So it's Brett, Jose, and it is Aaron. It's the 4 girls,
Aaron was on the ride back?
to my knowledge, but that's to my knowledge he was.
Okay.
But he'll say that he was not.
Sure.
And it's the 4 girls that were
With the group.
industry, as Brett Corrigan put it. And
Industry.
they're like older accomplice women.
Okay.
And it's Jose Durbin and John Vigilante as well.
Okay. Well, what a hell of a last name at the moment, Vigilante. It's an interesting word.
And that's the one that not everybody's talking about because he was more of a background character, I guess you could say.
So you get back to the Drake, and do you remember pulling back up to the Drake at all?
I do.
Okay.
I absolutely do. And that's actually the exact moment that I lost consciousness. So we pull up to the Drake. I'm barely conscious, but I'm at least hanging on. I remember them opening the door. I remember holding on to the sides of the door and literally looking down at the asphalt. And it was like a foot drop, maybe that, something very minimal. But to me, it looked like it may as well have been 50 feet. Like, I'm trying to look and I'm literally about to, as I know, lose consciousness. And that is the last thing I remember is like trying to step off of the sprinter onto, it's like in the underway, I guess, of the
Sure.
outside of the Drake,
Sure.
like the awning.
Okay. The underway. It was an awning. Okay. Because now here's the point. So if you've blacked out now at this point, when do you regain your consciousness?
So there's about, give or take about what I've calculated between the time the paramedics were called and about when I would have gotten back to the Drake is about 30-ish minutes. That's unaccounted for. Now, I don't know what happened in that time. I am completely just gone at that point, and which is terrifying.
Well, we do know what happened in that point.
Well,
You were taken off the Sprinter van, and they were attempting to book an extra hotel room for you. Okay, which thank God for the staff at the Drake Hotel. Brad Engel, I think, is the owner of that place.
thank God.
You did a phenomenal job training your staff because they noticed something was up, and they would not allow, who was it? I believe it was Jose Durbin, to book an extra room for you because they didn't want the liability of you being on their property. Okay, so then they call EMT and police, and they show up, and that's when we have the footage of Brett Corrigan addressing on the body cam, addressing the cops, saying, "Hey, this is a political event. We got to keep it quiet." And then they're saying they don't know who you are, if you speak English or anything. But there's a photo circulating online of Jose Durbin digging in your purse. Is that photo from when you guys got back or when you guys went?
It was definitely when we got back, but that was when the time that I'm completely not even able to speak, not even able to be conscious.
So you saw that photo and don't even remember what happened?
That was the terrifying part. Yes. As soon as I saw that photo circulating, by the way, that was the first time I had ever seen that photo, which is terrifying.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird. It's extremely suspicious because keep in mind, as a young woman, as a girl's girl, and somebody with many friends, even my girlfriends, my best friends, don't just go into my purse. It's like that. That's just not something that you do.
Right. Now, we've gotten the basic premise of this part down, and the reason why this is important, okay, is it gives people an actual factual breakdown where they get to hear the pieces of the story directly from your mouth. Because so far they've heard it from my mouth, they've heard it from this person's mouth, that person's mouth, etc. Right? And you just recently were able to get on Peggy Hubbard, but I wanted people to hear it directly from what you had to say. Let me ask you a question. Has anybody from the Bailey campaign since then till now reached out to you and even been like, yo, how do we make this go away? Not even trying to do the right thing and say, hey, we're sorry. Has anyone even called you to say, yo, how do we make this problem go away? Has anyone even tried to reach out to you?
No, other than I will say the day that followed, the 26th, Brett and Jose had called me from Brett's phone. They were out together and they had said the immediate first thing, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. We're so sorry. We're so sorry.
Oh, this is new to me.
And then they literally said, and this was Friday the 26th, it would have been around 11 p.m. And they had even invited me back out because I had numerous missed calls from Brett, but obviously I was not okay that entire day and also didn't want to speak to anybody, especially either of them.
Sure.
So when I finally answer their calls later at night, it's Brett and with Jose on his phone, and he says, oh my gosh, I'm with Jose. It's Cecilia. So then they tell me, I'm speaking to the two of them on speakerphone, evidently. And Brett and Jose, that's the immediate first thing. Oh my gosh, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. And that immediate reaction, like what are you sorry
what are you
for?
sorry
that was
about
my
if
first
something
thought.
never happened, apparently?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I already was very well aware that this was not just, one night drinking too much. I immediately already knew that from per medical records and per just
We're going to talk about that in a minute, by the way, but go ahead.
Experience. And so the first thing after they say that is then they proceed to say, it's okay. Send us your hospital bills. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it out of campaign funds. Don't worry. We'll take care of your hospital
whoa. I'm sorry. What was that last part?
They said to me, send us your hospital bills.
Yeah.
We will, it's okay. Like, we'll take care of it out of campaign funds.
Shut up. What do you mean campaign funds?
But I didn't even get the chance to send it because then, 3 days later, there's a certain individual that decides to blow the gasket and just tell everybody that this is something that has happened to me. And I didn't even get more than 3 days to process any of this before I'm watching my story get told in front of my eyes. So that's partially.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about the radio show?
No. So there were a couple individuals that had gone around and made phone calls. Did you hear what happened to Cecilia at the
yeah. Okay. Because I got one of those calls and I was like, I didn't hear a thing because I wasn't there.
Right. And so that was not me who was spreading that.
So you go out and you trust people. You get drugged, roofied, whatever. You're in the hospital. You can't even process. You don't even know if you've actually been touched or assaulted or whatever yet because you had your ass being grabbed the whole night.
Correct.
And being asked to give lap dances and stuff, okay? So you don't know if anything's happened to you. You haven't even had a chance to to fully understand your story, and you're hearing and you're seeing people tell the story about you.
Correct.
Who is that schmuck that started talking about it publicly?
So
unless you don't want to say.
No, it was I guess Tommy McIntosh had gotten a phone call and Jenny McGuire went and called everybody. And per some individuals that genuinely do care about me, that's how I first found out that everybody knew. Because I had an individual call me and say, oh my gosh, Cecilia, I heard what happened to you.
I did the same thing.
And yes, you did actually. There were numerous people. And that's when I start getting those phone calls that I realize my time to process is completely non-existent. I don't get that chance. So I'm literally watching everybody tell my story and gossip and just spread all of this in front of me while I am not even having the moment to process what happened.
And that's something I want all of you trolls out there to understand. When people step up into the political sphere and they want to offer their time and their services to serve the people, we're putting all of ourselves on the line. We have no more private life. So when things that are traumatic or crazy things happen, I don't know, maybe back off for a minute and give someone a chance to breathe. Let them tell their own story. This is absolutely ridiculous because it's almost like, someone was more interested in gossip and being a part of an illusionatory situation versus giving real shit about you. Sorry. That's how I see it. So you start hearing all these things within the first couple of days. When do you end up? Man, that's still blowing my mind. I'm sorry. When it starts coming out of your own control, you don't even have time to process yet. How do you end up moving forward from that point? Like, what's the next thing that's happening from you?
So I guess the next thing that would have happened was this is all in the span of less than 10 days, right?
Right.
So it's the days immediately following the actual incident itself at the Drake. Then it's that following week is the Elgin Salute dinner. So the kickoff to that week, the following Monday, just a few days later.
Oh, it was that short of a time span? Because I was at that dinner.
Yes.
That's why you two almost got into it.
Yes,
Got
I
it.
confronted her. Yes, do you want to elaborate? But
No, it's okay. I mean, here, basically what happened, because without throwing too much in here, there was an event in Elgin, an Elgin Salute dinner, and Cecilia went up to the woman, Jenny McGuire, she's talking about, and asked her, what the hell's your problem? Why are you running your mouth and all this? And, whatever. They had a tiff between them. And the reason why I'm trying to not give too much attention to that one is, unfortunately, someone, I believe, like Jennifer, who's extremely freaking talented, she is, has been misled by a lot of people herself over the years. Okay. And, we bring up a guy like Tommy McIntosh. I wish she would have found this guy 10 years ago. She would have been a much different person. But then, okay, so there's that event. And then how does this thing end up blowing up on the radio? Because that's when I first got involved.
So, yes, correct. The AM 560.
Mhm.
So that is actually something that I believe
It was a setup, right?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
1000% was a setup. So when I go there, I'm under the impression we're going to talk about races, just in general politics
Right.
with Max. And so I'm not under the impression that this incident is going to come out on the radio at all. I also, for clarification, was not aware that I was being recorded by an entirely separate camera.
To be live stream on Facebook.
Correct. Obviously, I'm well aware that when I go on the radio, I am going to be on camera, and I'm fully aware of that.
Sure.
However, it's to my understanding and impression that when we go on
Off the
commercial
air.
break,
Correct. We just had our first commercial break and there was no audio in the background and nothing being recorded.
what a concept.
All right, so here's the thing. This is my biggest issue with this because we have the much bigger problem of felony charges that are coming to Sandra Kohler, part of their campaign for illegally recording another person and trying to frame Joseph Severino and say he took credit for it. We know the Bailey campaign is dodging it. We know Aaron Del Mar is a coward paper tiger who keeps running from this instead of ever handling this thing. They sent me a cease and desist, tried to get me to shut up, and that chicken shit says he was coming on the podcast to discuss it back in October. Runs like a little schoolgirl, and this could have been handled forever ago. I would have never been in this issue. They would have buried your story. Here's something that annoys me. When Aaron Del Mar, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, sent the text message to us, to the 815 podcast, with the audio footage, with the audio of trying to blame the Severino campaign, in that same message, he's disparaging the victim. He pulls up 2 prior police reports that they actually brought up to me. Remember I told you after the recording of the podcast, they
Yes.
showed me some police report of a protection order against some boyfriend. This is Aaron Del Mar who sent all this stuff. Disparaging a victim of domestic violence. This is like saying if you wore a short skirt, you should expect to get raped kind of bullshit. Seriously. This is the way that he spoke to you in this message. That's what I want you to touch on here because I don't care about the stories of the boyfriend and there was something going on, but he tries to paint you as like some psycho crazy bitch that's, that does this professionally. And that's disgusting to try to discredit you when you don't even know what happened in 30 minutes of your life.
That's correct. And I appreciate you saying that and touching on that because that's appalling. It's appalling and horrendous behavior, especially by somebody who is grown and calls himself a man. But somebody who behaves the way that he does can't call himself a man because he hasn't been a man a day in his life. And when you start disparaging a victim of and a survivor of domestic violence, trying to speak on that, in my case, is as if he knows anything what's going on. And for the record, I am a survivor of domestic violence, and that wasn't a secret. And anybody who knows me knows that this never has been a secret. It's not something that was incredibly public because I was currently bringing my abuser to court while I was running for office back in 2024 and 2025. And I successfully, for the record, brought 5 cases against him in 2 different counties. And he has already caught 3 convictions. And we're currently still in court. And by the way, I have been granted a 2-year criminal plenary order of protection. That is good because I am a victim and a survivor of domestic violence. And by the way, if he wants to bring that up, that's actually where my mugshot comes from. That is why. That's why I'm so open about it.
Before it gets too far and emotional, I gotta give you a shout out, guys. I was talking to Cecilia and I said, "Hey, I need you to send me a picture for this flyer." She sends me a couple different options. I'm like, "You know what? You got your mugshot?" And she starts cracking up. She goes, "Are you serious?" I go, "Hey, whenever these schmucks post my mugshot, I post another version of my own. Give me your mugshot. Let's put your mugshot on this thing." I'm going to ask you for the sake of Aaron Del Mar, because I believe if Aaron Del Mar was here, he would ask you this question directly.
Yes.
What did you do to deserve to get abused? Some shit he would ask you.
1,000%. Oh, gee, Aaron Del Mar, the same thing that pisses you off, it causes you to be scared enough to run away from me. I simply exist.
Well, I think you and his wife or not wife or whatever she is.
Depends on the day, which way the wind blows.
So, with all this being said, the reason why we want this to blow up is because I said this earlier on the show before you got here. If Darren Bailey pulls off a primary victory because of the $30 million investment that Pritzker put into him last time, I'm going to publicly make it clear, there is no organization that I am a part of that we will allow $1 to go to support them. The mainstream media will end up coming to me and running with this story in the general. And I will be on every damn network to make everyone understand that just because you have a letter R next to your name doesn't mean anything to me, folks. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. Sorry. That's the bottom line. It's incumbent on us as Republican leaders to provide proper candidates, proper people for our constituents to vote for. And if you're not prepared to do that, I'm prepared to blow it all up. Welcome to the Arab show. Okay, it drives me nuts. I want to ask you this. People, in fact, hey, Brian, can you pull up that image I sent you? All right. So this is a conversation between Aaron Del Mar, Blaine, rather, and Justin, JV. So this is JV saying, where are you with the editing? Blaine saying, we aren't going to air it till they are ready. Might be later after the 17th of March. Darren and Cindy do not want it out till a later date. Okay, this is a podcast we recorded in January. And, JV's like, excuse me. Darren and Cindy do not want it out till later. Darren thinks it's going to hurt his campaign. Then here's Blaine again saying, oh, well, just think of Cindy. That's where my head's at. Plus, that Cecilia.
I think she's getting me mixed up with the energy drink, Celsia.
Plus, that Celsia girl wants this to all go away now. All of a sudden, I'm sure Danny went back and said how it went, and she's scared. So I got a question for you, Miss. What does that say, Celsia? So Celsia, are you scared, or do you want this to go away, or are you expecting to actually get some justification and justice here?
Well, I'm here because I continue to speak out. I told Darren Bailey at that Three-Headed Eagle Alliance meeting when he treated me the way he did, which was completely unprovoked, by the way. I looked at him as they were pushing me out and I pointed and said, Darren Bailey, you will not silence me and your team will not silence me. And when I said that, I meant it. And I'm still here and I am still speaking because they will not silence me. And by the way, Blaine, I don't know whoever this woman is. But
she's a former Miss America beauty pageant winner because she paid for a certificate that they put her name on.
That's tough. You know what? That's tough. I'll just have to remember that when I'm having a bad day, it could be worse. I could be this Blaine person that pays to be in pageants. That's
very true. All right. So the reason why I had them bring that up on the screen is because this is the ridiculousness of this campaign. These are supposed to be Christian people. And I'm not going to BS anybody on here and say, I am Mr. Christian and I'm a super duper Christian. I'm a believer definitively. I'm not that great of a direct follower. But when you're telling me that's what you are, and I'm supposed to vote for you because you're claiming that you are the Christ-like one. You're the staff and this schmuck is the limp sword. And this is the behavior that you guys do. That is Darren and Cindy directly not allowing something to go out into the public because it's going to hurt his campaign, as opposed to stand right and do what's right for a victim of a potential sexual assault. What the heck? What are your thoughts on this? Because you know this world. You've been in politics. You used to be friends with Aaron Delmar.
It's true, I did, which is actually one of the craziest reasons as to why I was so confused that he could not reach out to me. He had my phone number. He absolutely could have reached out to me. Him and I, prior to this, had never had an issue. And to my understanding, we were always on good terms, even up until recently as at John Anthony's radio boat party. I had seen him, had always been on good terms with him. So for him to be now treating me this way and acting like I'm brand new is news to me. So it's all appalling. The way that they have handled this is horrendous. You claim that you care so much about the people, but to me, it's looking like they care more about their egos and power if that's what they're really after, because they are willing to put the entire state of Illinois, this great state, and all of our people as collateral damage to their selfish egos and their power hungriness.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you definitively cannot win a general election. Okay? You really think that all this story with you, the story with Brett Corrigan, with that complaint that he wrote on the Baileys where Cindy is screaming, "Oh, governor, oh, governor," like you think all that's just going to disappear and go away? This is coming like a nightmare, and it's coming from a Democrat machine that doesn't care if they tell the truth or not.
Not at all. All they have to do, are you kidding me? All they have to do is post one picture. See, the Republicans hate women. See, the Republicans hate minorities. Look what they did to it. Look, it's Trump all over again. They will use that. They will use that. And you know what it's going to do? If, God forbid, the worst case were to happen, J.B. Pritzker is salivating at the chance to wipe the floor with Darren Bailey again. They won't even need cleaning service because he's already going to be doing the job for him.
100%.
And not only that, he's going to tee Pritzker up for a presidential run, because then the rest of the country and the Democratic machine is going to look and say, well, look how much Darren Bailey won from in 2022. Oh my gosh, the people of Illinois clearly love him so much because, or excuse me, not Darren Bailey, J.B. Pritzker. And they're going to say,
J.B. Bailey.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
Might
Same
as well
person,
be.
yeah.
Pretty much. And they're going to say, oh, well, look at how much J.B. Pritzker beat this horrible candidate again in 2026. It was a landslide. Look how much the people love him. And then, you know what that's going to do? Tee our own J.B. Pritzker up for a presidential run. So if that's the legacy that the Bailey-Delmar campaign wants to leave and just toss aside the constituents of the people of Illinois as collateral damage, then I hope you're proud of that legacy, because this is so incredibly selfish.
Well, that's what blows my mind. Like, you have this woman, Sandra, okay? This woman, Sandra, committed a Class 5 felony. And because the victim was in a different state at the time that it happened, and when you cross borders, it's called wire fraud, okay? So she takes this audio and she gives it to Aaron Delmar. Now, Aaron Delmar decides to take this audio and present it to this podcast as a whole nother thing, as someone from the Severino campaign. So one of two things here I got a question for Aaron is either one, you knew this wasn't anybody from Severino's campaign and this audio had nothing to do with that night and you used it anyways, or two, your campaign staffer legitimately presented this to you as someone from Severino's campaign and you did none of the vetting. Either way, you're an accomplice after the fact, because what you just admitted to by accepting it and sending it is you are aware your campaign staff illegally commits felonies by recording people. This Sandra Kohler woman, she's just a random woman that lives in Sandwich, Illinois. Just a regular one of the Becky bots, okay? The Becky brats, if you will, the Becky Nelson brats. This woman is going to have a sheriff show up to her door and handcuff her, and she's looking at felony charges. Why? For the Bailey campaign? And they refuse to step out. With all the heat on them, Darren Bailey is such a chicken shit coward that he refuses to come anywhere higher than I-80 because he knows damn well he's going to get laughed at and embarrassed. And Aaron is such a failure inside of Cook County. The guy's not even around. Every single person that he's put into trying to run for a commitment or a position has a primary contender because of how much they cannot stand this degenerate.
Correct.
Why would someone like this not step out? It can't just be pride. It can't just be ego, because there's got to be a certain point of self-preservation that says neither one of these guys are Middle Eastern. They ain't going to be blowing up anytime soon. So I don't understand it.
No, I'm at a complete loss for understanding. And I think many of us are. I mean, there is a reason that at each of the debates and the forums that have been held recently, I mean, I've lost count of how many they've skipped out on. And by the way, but who's counting, right? Because, oh my gosh. But I have been at the majority of these, and they are nowhere to be found. And it's not for no reason that at each of these debates, when their name was announced, that they were booed, and that people are leaving empty chairs for them, and why they're receiving minimal votes, like
Booed.
less than one hand on a straw poll.
It's more than booed.
Crazy.
Aaron Del Mar ran out like a coward. Remember that night in McHenry?
Yes, that was in Gen Z speak. That was literally watching. If rage quitting were a person, that was Aaron Del Mar.
He rage quitted.
1,000%.
I know rage quitted. I'm kind of hip. Rage quitting.
I'll give you more than kind of.
Just a little bit more. I'm I can still throw down on a pair of turntables and scratch it up. But listen, this guy, folks, he is showing up. He was in McHenry at the lieutenant governor's debate. It was a lieutenant governor and governor. And he wasn't allowed to speak on the governor one, which is where he actually wants to sit. He sat at the lieutenant governor one, miserable as can be. Then after he was done, went into the back kitchen area, lost his mind, and then got escorted out by a security guard for his own protection. Are you kidding me? They had a couple of their fans in the crowd. He had a whole crew of volunteers helping with their sign, just left them. This
High
is
and dry, like some laundry outside blowing in the wind.
I want you to explain toxicology reports, because you went to the hospital that night. They checked your blood. There was something going on with you. They can't pinpoint anything as exactly what was the cause. Explain that toxicology report, because, some people that like to be internet detectives, they've watched a couple TV shows and like, where's the toxicology report? This is as Law and Order SVU. What are the details behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to provide clarification on all of that. So if anybody says they have my toxicology reports, they're lying, because one, it's only blood work. It's only my blood work that exists, which, by the way, I am the only one who has access to, other than my medical providers who also do. Now, I can tell you, but in that toxicology report, or the technical blood work, it literally says, so it shows certain blood levels and the different, not a Gurlian stat, but it's the different chemicals and things, I guess, that make up your blood, like your glucose levels and all these other things. And it literally shows you a chart. It shows you a chart and then breaks it down for you. But it literally says, you've got your normal range, and then you've got your out of range. There is it's clear as day. It's either green or it's not.
Right.
And it's completely in the separate direction. And so literally just seeing that, it shows you out of range. Out of range.
Okay.
And so, of course, I also followed up with the medical providers after, because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what happened. I wanted to know the answers. And in doing that, I find out, yes, even based off upon their confirmation, based off of how you were acting, that is not alcohol. Based off of medical provider treatment, as well as the witnesses to that. The ones who transported me to the hospital, the paramedics, as well as the people in the emergency room, that medical personnel.
This could have been liquid G. This could have been ketamine. This could have been a whole bunch of, random stuff, right? So, go ahead.
And I also want to clarify, too. So there are some individuals who need not be named, but they are going around spreading that there were narcotics and other substances in my system. That is also a lie, because one, we all know about HIPAA. So if somebody is claiming to have my medical records, which you don't, you are either admitting to committing a federal offense. So you've either forged medical records or somehow hacked into mine, which I definitely know didn't happen per the safety and security. So if that's something that people want to go continue and say, like, I will be happy to pursue the federal offense violation for violating HIPAA laws, which is not a minor offense.
No, not at all.
And I also, for clarification, when people are saying, well, why can't you figure out which exact, I would love to know which exact, we
would love to know what exactly was in and which person did it specifically, so that they can get arrested.
Correct.
That's why, for people asking in the chat, that's why people can't get arrested, because you can't prove it. I can prove Sandra Kohler illegally committed a felony and recorded somebody, and then there was wire fraud sending it to Del Mar. You can't prove who put something in the drink. In fact, what's that woman's name from the American Pie movies? She had the horrible boob job done to her. She recently said she got roofied downtown. You know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about, but yes, I can't remember her name, but yes, and that right there was huge, because in the news it talks about that.
Right.
And roofing is actually, it's terrifying, but it's actually more common than you would think.
Extremely.
Apparently.
Guys, I ran nightclubs for 26 years. I ran gentlemen's clubs for 22. I threw concerts for years. We would have to have on-staff paramedics and Narcan, etc., everything available, because people are scumbags like that. And it might not even happen inside of your facility or your venue. Could happen in the parking lot. It's insane.
It's very true. And it's not that immediate, it the moment it happened, but very quickly after. And that rapid downhill spiral is just that. It's rapid.
As we get to the ends here, let me give you another piece of victim blaming here. So you're a fairly attractive woman. Okay?
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. But why did you go out in a party van knowing as an attractive woman that things can happen to you? Huh? Why'd you do it? You know exactly who I'm referencing with this stupid question.
1,000%.
This woman was asked on that radio show, what are you doing getting on a party bus or a Sprinter van? You know what happens on those things, and you shouldn't dress like that anyway. So you mean to tell me, and if you go on a Sprinter van, it immediately means you're supposed to get drunk and get banged and snort and all this other crap? That's what it means? You mean that a woman wears a skirt automatically means she's trying to be bent over and freaking mounted? Is that what you're saying, you schmuck? I'm going to leave his name out to be nice.
Yeah. You're nicer than I am.
I don't know why I'm being nice to this freaking guy.
It's giving predatory behavior. And honestly,
isn't that creepy?
It's incredibly creepy.
So in the last, because we only got a couple minutes left, I want you to wrap up what you've experienced from this, maybe what you've learned, what you're still dealing with, because let's be real here. At the end of the day, you still don't know what physically happened to your body.
Correct.
You didn't have to be raped with a penis to potentially could have been raped or assaulted or penetrate or any of this stuff, and and I'm not accusing anybody, I'm just saying you have no recollection of this, and it's something you have to live with every day, and your name is everywhere. And if Darren Bailey's dumbass wins the primary, your name is going to be really everywhere, right next to mine. What are your thoughts? Because we got a couple minutes before we wrap up.
Absolutely. My thoughts, this is not something that, of course, that I wanted immediately out. Like I said, I didn't even have a chance. I didn't even have a second to process this. But at the end of the day, the reason I keep speaking out, this started off as justice for me, but I'm realizing at this point, this is much bigger than myself. This is a track record of horrible people and behavior within the party. These are people that need to go. These are people that need to be held accountable. And these are people that clearly behaved the way that they did because for whatever reason, they haven't faced repercussions. That to me is the only excuse, but there are no more excuses. And I'm holding these people accountable so that nothing like this ever happens to another woman, especially in our party. I hope everybody is paying attention and seeing the way they are treating me, from being physically assaulted to being just having a character or a pathetic attempt of a character assassination at me.
They tried to jump you, three-headed eagle. I had to jump in and escort you out of the room.
Correct. And back to Sandra Kohler for a moment, because that's not going to be the first person that's going to be getting arrested and facing charges and conviction. We've already this will be the second person that is being arrested on behalf of these incidents. Shout out to you. I'll leave her.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And again, it wasn't personal, but for me, it's the principle about all of these things. It's the principle. It's the people of Illinois deserve better. I deserve answers. But even more importantly, our state deserves answers. Our state deserves better than Pritzker. And our state deserves leadership who will stand up, have a backbone, advocate for the truth, transparency at all times, not when it fits their narrative.
I want to go one step higher than that. Okay, because I have been locked up, for those of you that don't know. And yes, I spent 4 months in county jail in Michigan for freaking weed, guys. Blow me, respectfully. In that short amount of time that I was locked up, I saw several people get annihilated. Beat to all living hell. And those were one child molester. The rest were sexual abusers to women. Okay? Those guys, when they go inside jail, every degenerate, every thief, every murderer, someone could have robbed and killed their mother. Those people will all come together to go after sexual predators and sexual deviants. But here you are, as a woman who's been a victim of it, and a potential other victim. Let's be real. Even grabbing your ass. Oh, it's mundane. They just grabbed your ass. It's still grabbing your ass.
And it's sexual assault. So call it for what it is.
Exactly. It's still sexual assault. You've been through this, and now there are powerful men at play that are trying to dismiss you and shut you up and move along like nothing happened. And one of them is claiming to be the leader of the Christian morality of this party.
You know what that's called? Blasphemy. They speak as though they are Christians. They claim all of these things. Words mean nothing to me when your actions don't prove the same thing that you're speaking on. And they claim to be such good Christian stands-up men. Like I said before, Neither of these people have been a man a day in their lives. And the way that they've been acting because of this incident is proving just that. And on top of it, you can't scream that you're a Christian, and then everybody's going to believe it. But how do you live your life? How do you treat other people? How do you live out the gospel and preach the word of Jesus Christ? You don't. You live as blasphemers, and God will not be mocked.
No, he will not. Listen, guys, we are getting ready to wrap up. Before we do, we want to thank you guys for joining us on a special occasion here, special episode airing day. If you guys are anywhere in the Will County area and you're getting hit by storms and hail and all that, just know, be safe, get in your shelters. I don't know much about farmland. I should have left that part to JV. I don't know much to say about that. But be safe, be careful out there. Simple, clear message. The election is this coming week. Republicans, we don't vote till we vote in person. That's the majority. Vote for Sheriff Mendrick. Vote for Rick Heidner. Vote for Ted Dabrowski. Leave Darren Bailey back on the farm where he belongs. And Aaron Del Mar can straight go to hell with him.
1,000%. I just want to say I give all glory and honor to God every single day. He is quite literally the reason I am alive. And one day I'll speak on that too. But saved by grace, through faith, I am divinely protected. And I just want to say thank you to you, Danny. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for giving me a voice.
Oh, you got it.
All glory and honor to God always.
Special final shout out to our sponsor for this event, Somebody's Daughter organization. Please make sure you check them out online. Somebody's Daughter is an organization that helps young women understand, 1, how to prevent themselves from getting roofied, 2, self-defense training and classes. Make sure you check them out online. Our good friend Gia runs this organization. And guys, live from the Hive with a survivor of sexual violence and domestic violence and a woman that will not be silenced, Miss Cecilia Brooks. Definitely thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for
having me. Live from the Hive. We'll be back next week. See you when we see you. Peace.